We stopped typing for a week, and every draft got faster. This brief took exactly 9 minutes. It used to take 25. Same brain, different input. The average person speaks at about 150 words per minute, but we only type at 40. That deficit acts as an invisible physical bottleneck. It chokes the flow of ideas. You think at speaking speed, but work at typing speed. The premise of this experiment is to close that gap. To align the speed of the work with the speed of the thought, the keyboard has to become the absolute last step. The rules for the week were strictly defined. One single rule for 7 days. Absolutely nothing starts on the keyboard. That applied to everything. Briefs, meeting notes, email replies, and raw ideas all had to be spoken first into whatever microphone was closest. The artificial intelligence in this workflow has a highly specific job. It doesn't write the content. It acts solely as the shaper and formatter of your raw input. The human job is to say the honest, messy version of the thought out loud without self-censoring. This specific division of labor shifts the human role from a typist to a director, setting the stage for a change in how we focus. Day 1 is just 10 minutes of setup. The microphone goes everywhere, the phone's keyboard mic in your pocket, and voice mode right at the desk. A single saved instruction does the heavy lifting for the entire week. It reads, "Shape whatever I say into a clean brief, note, or reply. My tone, short paragraphs, keep my phrasing where it works." Then comes the first real execution. You speak your ideas directly into the system, exactly as they occur to you. The resulting transcript is a complete mess. It's disorganized, chaotic, and ugly to look at. But that ugliness is intentional. It proves that the slow, composing filter of the keyboard has been bypassed. Capturing this unfiltered verbal data is critical, because the actual acceleration of the work happens in the secondary translation phase. Making this work requires a behavioral shift. You have to speak the mess and actively resist the urge to compose in your head before talking. You say the things you would never type, half-finished sentences, second thoughts, mid-sentence commands to actually scrap that. At the end of the ramble, you append one conversational command to dictate the shape, something like, "Make this a brief for the design team." This diagram shows the structural difference. On the left is raw, unstructured verbal input. On the right, the target output, a perfectly aligned brief. The AI shapes the text instantly. Your raw ideas, spoken in your voice, return ready to send. By offloading the micro-decisions of spelling and cursor placement, the friction of the blank page is replaced by the pace of a conversation. By day 4, the workflow hit a complex problem, the kind of task that usually demands staring at a monitor for an hour. Instead of sitting at the desk, the drafting process moved outside. A pair of headphones, a phone running voice mode, and a 30-minute walk. The session became interactive. You talk the problem through, ask the AI to push back on weak arguments, and verbally pivot your decisions in real time. When you sit back down at the desk, a fully shaped document is already waiting. The decisions, open questions, and next steps are captured and formatted. Separating thought generation from the workstation changes where and when deep work happens. The desk is no longer the only place for thinking. This odometer visualizes the micro-level savings of the experiment. The standard drafting time for a document dropped from 25 minutes down to 9. Multiply that speed difference across hundreds of emails, reports, and notes over the course of a week, and the efficiency compounds. The math scales up. Across a week, this workflow handed back 3 hours of deep focus time. The verdict of this case is clear. Starting every draft at speaking speed changes the baseline for what you can produce in a week. The keyboard remains a tool for precision and final formatting. It just goes last now. Moving it to the end of the process addresses a physical limit on how quickly a thought becomes a draft. The next case gets picked from your comments. Tell us the habit you want tested, and it becomes an episode.